families, pensioners, businesses, teachers, nurses, and many others are worried about.
So guys, welcome to another video. I'm going to be listening to the autumn statement right now, and then I'm going to be able to come back to you very, very shortly and let you know exactly my analysis of what's going on. Let me get on with watching this. I'll come back to you very shortly. Like, everybody is going to be poorer. There is no two ways about it. Right guys, so let's get into the information now that's all over. Let's start talking about the first part of a Chancellor's plan, which is stability. Now, before we do any of that, if you haven't already given this video a big like, please do so. It really helps me out with the algorithm. And if you haven't already subscribed, why not consider subscribing? We have our subscriber dividend portfolio where we give you money every single month. As soon as the dividends hit my account, I'm going to give them to a lucky subscriber, and you guys can take part in the passive income that I receive, and I can make sure that you can see firsthand how that all works. But let's get into this announcement. Let's talk about what has gone on today. Because if I'm honest, having listened to everything, although it's packaged up nicely, it's bad news for pretty much everybody. So let's look at, first of all, the OBR, the Office for Budgetary Responsibility. Now, they're basically forecasting this year we'll have growth of about 4.2%. And that was said in a way that made it sound like that's quite a good thing. Well, if you've got inflation of 10%, you haven't got much real growth, have you, if you've only got growth of 4.2%. So growth of 4.2%, not amazing. They are now saying that in 2023 we'll have a contraction in GDP of 1.4%. So taken together, that's not a great picture of the UK economy. Now, at the moment, we've got unemployment of about 3.6%. They are saying by 2024, that's going to rise to 4.9%. Now, what does that mean? As unemployment increases, wages tend to be subdued because there's more people competing for each role. At the moment, we all know there's a bit of a labour shortage, so people are going to jobs that are able to demand more money. Fast forward to 2024, when more people are out of work, there's more choice for employers. Well, actually, wages will be pushed back down as people become more and more desperate to gain employment. So my gut instinct, again, that's not great news for the economy. A recession, higher unemployment, these things normally go hand in hand. It's not particularly great news. And this is why it's important to do these sort of videos, because it allows you to prepare yourself. You have time. A lot of things are in your power. I genuinely believe that. I'm looking at this data going, I need to prepare myself for tough times ahead. I'm going to make sure I've got good cash reserves, my investment pot is overflowing, and I'm making sure that I'm in the best possible cash on cash monthly deficit when it comes to my personal budgeting. So the amount of money I've got coming in is significantly more than the amount of money I've got coming out every single month. So let's talk about tax. I think first thing was the Chancellor said 45p. That is now going to go from 150k to 125k. Now, that's not going to affect that many people, and those people on average are going to pay £1,200 a month. Now, he did say that those with the broadest shoulders pay the most. Now, if you're earning 150 grand, I get it, you're earning a good wage, you have got broad shoulders, but you've not got the broadest shoulders in the UK. The people in the UK with the big money, the rich if you like, they're not earning money. They are gaining money through investment. So I think it's important to say, and my opinion is, a lot of this stuff here, it's all targeting the working people. It's not targeting the mega rich, it's targeting the working people. And the reason is they are much easier to go at. At the end of the day, when you're being paid PAYE or when you're doing a tax return, it's much easier for us to get the money off those people. Tax allowances, now this is a real stealth tax, guys. This is staying the same until 2028. So if your allowance, let's say for example, at the moment, for the upper range, for going into 45% is 50k. Now, at a 10% inflation in real terms this year, that's dropped to an old 45k, if you like, by 10%. Now, if you keep that in place for till 2028, you're looking at a significant reduction in real terms, not in nominal terms, but in real terms of the tax allowances. So that means that you are going to have less money in your pocket at the end of every single month, regardless of what you earn. Whether you're a minimum wage earner or whether you're a top earner, you're going to have less every single month in real terms, not in nominal terms. Dividend allowances, they've been slashed 2,000 down to 1,000 next year, down to 500 the year after, essentially making dividends about level with earning PAYE, I think once it all comes out in the wash. Capital gains, down from 12,300 to 6,000 next year to 3,000 by 2024. That's a big one. That's massively reducing that allowance. That makes me much less likely to want to invest for capital gains in terms of if I'm using that scenario for income. And a way you might do that is to buy a stock, to sell it once you've made £12,300 on it, rebuy it, and therefore you can take that £12,300 as capital gains completely tax-free. Once that starts reducing, people are going to be much less likely to use that, although the rate is still much less. But it's important to say you've already paid tax on that money, right? You've already earned it, you've already paid tax on it, and now you're being taxed again by making more money from your money. Electric cars, road tax are going to be applicable on them from 2025. He didn't go into too much detail on that or how that's going to look, but I assume that we'll see in the next couple of years what that looks like. It's interesting, he said half of the vehicles on the road will be electric by 2025, and it makes sense that they then need to be taxed the same as everyone else. Stamp duty cuts, they're going to stay in place, but they do have a sunset clause of 2025, so they are going to stop in 2025. NI is frozen for employers, but also employees, so that's going to stay exactly as it is. R&D tax relief has been cut, and there's a windfall tax that's been introduced from 25% to 35% for oil and gas producers and 45% on electricity. And that's because essentially in the UK, electricity is priced based on the gas price, and electricity manufacturers are basically making lots of money at the moment because gas prices are high. That takes care of the stability side. Now, when it comes to growth and public sector, there are some good things. I mean, this is all pretty negative if I'm taking my view. You know, it's essentially more tax for everybody, both nominally and in real terms. It's not amazing. But he has put in some things for growth. Overall though, guys, the autumn statement, it really is quite a somber reading. It's not a positive thing. It's been dressed up a little bit positively. Honestly, I can't really find anything in there that I'm going, oh, that sounds good, let's get on board with that. It's basically negative, negative, negative. It's easy to give some glimmers of hope when you're talking about the future, when you're saying, you know, in the future we'll have energy security, in the future we'll have energy independence as a nation and low-cost energy, and they have said that they're going to keep £3,000 next year from, I think it was March, whenever the current energy price cap expires, so there will still be an energy price cap last year. But I remember the days when people were competing for your business in energy. Hopefully we'll go back to those days at some point. But let's talk about the growth. Let me wipe all this off and let's get the next slide up so that we can have a look through that as well. Right, guys, do not worry a bit about not being able to see what's on the board. Everything's going to come on the screen as I keep going. My pen has run out of ink. For growth and public services, these are the announcements. Schools are going to get an additional 2.4 billion, NHS an additional 3.3 billion, and the social care sector was going to get an extra billion. Businesses, 2/3 of them are not going to be spending any more money. In fact, they're going to have 0 business rates, but there is going to be a full business rates review to make sure that businesses in buildings that are more valuable are paying more. 600,000 universal credits people are going to be meeting with a coach in order to try and increase the amount that they're earning or find alternative work or better paid work. So that's essentially telling people on universal credit, we're going to try and get you to earn a little bit more money to reduce the burden on society. Sizewell C, nuclear, that's going to get the go ahead. So we're going to be building nuclear power. Again, this is part of making ourselves energy independent for the stability, and it also creates lots of jobs. I think he said 10,000 jobs are going to come along with that to give us some extra growth. HS2 is going ahead, the new hospital program is going ahead, and gigabit broadband rollout, that's all still going ahead. So there's lots of money being pumped into infrastructure. There were some mentions of some minor projects at the same time, but I just want to focus on the ones that have come up on the main headlines. National living wage, that's going to increase to £10.42 from April 2023, and the pensioners, they're going to get 10.1% increase as well. So what does this all mean all together? Now, my analysis is pretty simple, okay? Everybody of working age is going to be a little bit worse off. Pensioners, about the same. NHS, about the same. Schools, about the same. But everybody of working age is going to be a little bit worse off. So what do I, as a 40-year-old man, think of all of this? Well, here's my thoughts. We locked down, we borrowed lots of money, we gave it to working age people. This isn't my wishes, this is just me being pragmatic. We gave that money to working age people. Now we've got to pay for it. And that means that working age people have to pay for it. So I think anybody looking at this needs to really say to themselves, there are tough times ahead. How do I take care of the fundamentals? And here's the fundamental formula for economic life, right? Live below your means. Make your expenses less than your income. And if you can do that and invest the difference, for me, that's in index funds or property, but you know, whatever your flavor of investments might be, if you can do that, you can weather these sort of storms. But if we've got higher interest rates, the people with less debt and more investments are always going to win. So for me, I'm going to be reducing my debt burden. I'm going to be increasing the amount that I invest every single month. I'm going to work a little bit harder. There's other stuff that I know that I can do in order to make sure I increase my income. And I would urge everybody who's in the position to do so to do the same. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it's a bit negative. I don't really see that many positives in this other than we're getting an announcement that's saying there are tough times ahead. You have been warned. It's been dressed up in a little bit of a positive light, but believe me, there are tough times ahead. I've been warned, I'm heeding that warning. I'm gonna make sure that in the next 6 to 12 to 24 months, I put myself on the front foot. I hope you guys do the same. Let me know in the comments your opinions, guys. As always, I will reply to every single one. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a like, it helps me out with the algorithm, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers, guys.